Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, your host, and I'm here today to delve into an important health topic. We're going to explore how limiting television viewing time can significantly reduce heart disease risk. Joining me is Ilara Sky, who provides clear insights on natural health approaches. Ilara, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ethan. I'm looking forward to discussing this research. We have new evidence showing that spending too much time watching TV can raise the risk of heart disease. It appears the risk increases even if you have a low genetic predisposition to type 2 diabetes. So this information is relevant to a very broad audience.
To give everyone a quick overview, a study recently published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that people who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day have a 12% greater risk of developing heart disease, regardless of their genetic background. What's even more interesting is that keeping viewing time under an hour daily appears to reduce that risk substantially, even in individuals with a higher genetic risk for type 2 diabetes.
Correct. In that particular study, researchers analyzed data from over 300,000 participants in the UK Biobank. They followed these individuals for nearly 14 years. None of the participants had heart disease or type 2 diabetes at the start. Researchers then calculated each participant's genetic risk by checking 138 genetic variants linked to type 2 diabetes. They wanted to see whether those with a predisposition to diabetes would also be more susceptible to atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease if they spent hours in front of the TV.
And the findings were quite clear. Spending 2 or more hours a day watching television led to a 12% higher risk of heart disease, irrespective of genetic risk profiles. On the flip side, limiting TV time to less than an hour a day kept heart disease risk notably lower, even for those carrying high genetic risk for type 2 diabetes. Each additional hour beyond the 1-hour threshold raised heart disease risk by around 3%.
That 3% figure might seem small initially, but it accumulates. 2 hours one day, then 2 hours another day, over months and years. It makes a significant difference in arterial plaque buildup. The study underscores how sitting for prolonged periods, especially in front of the television, can lead to cardiovascular risks that outpace genetic factors alone.
I think it's important to stress that heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. According to the statistics cited by Dr. Mercola, heart disease takes nearly 17.9 million lives each year globally, and one person in the United States dies from it every 33 seconds. When we talk about minimizing TV time, it might sound like a simple lifestyle tweak, but the data shows it can make a meaningful impact on long-term heart health.
Yes, and there's a reason why watching TV is singled out as more harmful than other types of sitting. Television viewing is often coupled with poor eating habits, such as snacking on junk food or consuming sugary drinks. People also tend to remain very still during those hours, with minimal movement. It's that combination of prolonged sitting and mindless eating that speeds up plaque buildup in the arteries.
Movement is critical to good circulation and metabolic function. Sitting for extended periods, as many of us do when watching TV, slows blood flow, promotes clot formation, and can elevate triglycerides. Over time, those factors lead to atherosclerosis, where plaque accumulates inside the arterial walls. For people with type 2 diabetes or even just a genetic susceptibility to it, this sedentary pattern further aggravates metabolic issues.
That's a good point. These risks aren't mitigated just by exercising before or after sitting. Studies have shown that even people who get regular exercise can still suffer adverse health effects if they spend most of their day seated. Prolonged sitting disrupts blood glucose metabolism, raises insulin resistance, and can spike inflammation, all of which contribute to heart disease.
Exactly. Another factor worth noting is that the body goes into a sort of shutdown mode with prolonged sitting. After about 90 seconds of standing, your muscular and cellular systems kick in to process blood sugar and triglycerides. But when you remain seated, it's as if you're telling your body it's time to be inactive. According to research shared by Dr. Mercola, sitting for too long is linked to conditions like obesity, depression, and overall higher mortality risk.
Indeed, and the featured study found a big leap in heart disease risk at 2 or more hours of TV viewing each day. Yet there is positive news. Even if someone has a higher genetic risk for type 2 diabetes, keeping that daily TV time under an hour can help reduce the 10-year absolute risk of heart disease. That's quite empowering. It shows that proactive choices around screen time can override, to some extent, what might be written in your genes.
So, let's talk about practical steps. The first tip is straightforward. Limit TV time to 1 hour or less daily. If you're used to 2 or 3 hours a day, start by cutting back in increments. Also, people can replace that time with light movement. Rather than binging multiple episodes, consider a short walk, some stretches, or even a home-based workout if you still want to consume the content.
Another key is to move around every 30 minutes. It might involve setting a timer on your phone. Every half hour, stand up, walk around the room, or step outside for a moment. These brief bursts of activity help circulation and prevent the sluggish blood flow that leads to clot formation. If you have a job that requires sitting, you can switch to a standing desk or consider a walking pad.
Also, we can look at swapping certain screen habits. Sometimes people watch TV simply because it's part of a routine. If it's boredom, try a different pastime. Light chores, reading, or even calling a friend while pacing around can keep you active. If you do sit down to watch something, keep healthy snacks close by, like fresh fruit or herbal tea, instead of soda or processed treats.
Exactly. It's about making small, consistent adjustments that accumulate into big health benefits. Another tip from Dr. Mercola's article is to incorporate walking into everyday life. Walk while you talk on the phone, park farther from store entrances, or add an extra few minutes to your usual dog walk. Walking is free, low impact, and easy to work into your daily schedule. Over time, it's a proven way to reduce the risk of heart disease.
Before we wrap up, let's address some of the frequently asked questions about TV time and heart disease. One common question is, how does watching too much TV directly contribute to higher heart disease risk? As we've discussed, sitting still for too long slows circulation, raises blood sugar, and fosters weight gain. Combine that with often unhealthy snacking, and it sets the stage for arterial plaque formation.
Another question is, if you have a family history of diabetes, does reducing TV time really help? The answer is yes. Even those with high genetic risk saw lower heart disease rates when they limited TV time under an hour a day. In fact, their risk was measured at 2.13%, which is lower than the 2.46% risk found in people with lower genetic risk who still watched 2 or more hours daily.
And a question about how much each extra hour of TV matters. We know that each additional hour can raise the risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease by about 3%. That 3% compounds over time, making it a big factor if you routinely spend hours in front of the screen.
One more point. Watching TV is particularly problematic compared to other forms of sitting because it's more likely to be paired with junk food or sugary drinks. When you're sitting at a desk, you might be focused on work. But television often goes hand in hand with mindless munching. That combination leads to higher blood sugar, higher triglycerides, and faster plaque accumulation in the arteries.
So, in summary, we have a few key strategies. Limit TV to under an hour daily. Move every 30 minutes. Swap out passive screen time for light activity. Choose healthier snacks, and walk whenever possible. These changes help protect your cardiovascular system, improve metabolism, and counteract genetic risk factors.
That's a good takeaway. Also, remember that even if you already exercise, it's still crucial to reduce overall sitting time. You can't fully offset hours of sitting with a single workout. The body needs consistent movement throughout the day. Short walks, standing breaks, and overall activity help ensure that your muscles and cells remain active in processing blood sugar and fats efficiently.
Exactly. So many people overlook this aspect because they assume going to the gym covers them. But chronic sitting has its own negative effects, independent of your time on the treadmill. The evidence makes it clear that no matter your age or genetics, incorporating more movement and limiting stationary activities like TV watching can make a measurable difference in your heart health.
And it doesn't mean you have to give up television altogether. It just means being mindful and moderating how much time you spend in front of the screen. Replace one TV show with a walk or a chore. Keep your body in motion. These small efforts, over the long term, protect against heart disease and other chronic conditions.
Well said. I hope today's discussion empowers our listeners to reassess their routines. Reducing TV time might seem like a simple step, but it can have a major impact on cardiovascular health, even if you believe genetics are working against you. I want to thank you, Alara, for your contributions, and thank you to everyone listening for joining us.
Thank you, Ethan. I hope our listeners will find these insights helpful and start implementing some of these changes right away.
That wraps up this episode of Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, signing off. Remember, small steps each day to reduce sitting can go a long way toward a healthier heart and a better quality of life. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with more health-focused discussions.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.